Why are so many Russians moving to Vietnam?
The best city in Southeast Asia. The connection with motherland.
Do you feel like you're becoming Vietnamese?
Before they said we are a brother nation.
This situation in my life, for the moment, it's tough. It's hard. They didn't let me go to the plane.
Many Vietnamese people during the Soviet Union times came to Soviet Union.
Yeah, you can see here like the temple and then the communist symbol. Really, really cool to see that the Russian life here is dabbling into the artistic side as well.
I feel like it's my home. Yeah, I like the food, I like the cuisine, I like the culture. People are staying here, they will call their friends. The community is bigger and bigger with the time. My parents are upset about it.
That you live here.
Yes.
Hello, my friends. No, I'm not in Miami. I'm not in Tel Aviv either. I'm in Danang, Vietnam. Pretty cool place. I'm right here on the beach. I spent the last couple of days just surfing here on this beach. I know there's no waves right now. I want to tell you guys a quick story. A few months ago, I was in the north of Thailand, and somebody had pitched me the idea for a cool video that I've tried to follow up on, and now I'm making it, which was that when I come to Danang, Vietnam, I'm going to notice that there's a lot of Russian people here. And I have a sort of curiosity about Russian people, especially considering the trip I did in Russia in 2017, which I really, really enjoyed. And so because of that, I've gotten connected to my new friend Dima.
I'm Dima. I'm jobless for almost a year. From Omsk, Siberia, natively, but I spent last 5 years in Moscow building my career in digital marketing.
But yeah, so I connected with Dima because I wanted to take this idea of the video of like asking the question is why are there so many Russians in Da Nang in Vietnam? Why are so many Russians moving to Vietnam? And I felt the only way that I could answer this question is by connecting with a bunch of Russian people. So what I did was I just blasted messages on Facebook trying to get in touch with Russian people, Russian expats who live here in this part of Vietnam. And I got in contact with Dima somehow. I want to just start by hitting you with a lot of questions of how you ended up in Vietnam.
21st February, we woke up and understand that it's war around, and my wife told me that we are leaving country, and then we started our preps. I finished my work. I get a startup company, not my ownership, but dependent on my physical participation day by day. So it take me some time. Google spreadsheet with 35 countries, and Vietnam was the best by value for money and availability to travel with the dog.
Because you got a dog as well.
Yeah.
Can I ask, what were some of the other countries that you guys played with the idea of moving to besides Vietnam?
Sure, it was closest countries to Russia, like Armenia and Georgia. Also, our friends moved to Armenia in May. They rented a place, rented apartment for almost $2,000 at the moment, and it was like a monthly budget for Vietnam. So it wasn't a choice for us because we planned to get something like a long vacation.
Long vacation that's never ending.
Yet.
The decision to move here, there's always been some sort of small community of Russians that live in Da Nang, right?
There was no Russian community, almost maybe 50 people were there, but only beach and surfing enjoyers. To September, after mobilization, Da Nang started to be crowded, and for your audience, the most Russian city in Vietnam is Nha Trang. It's 500 kilometers by the beach. We lived there for a month, and then we moved to Da Nang just to check, to explore more of Vietnam, and we ended up here because it's probably best city in Southeast Asia.
It's pretty damn wonderful. To be honest, I'm renting a place here that's $10 a night, like an actual studio apartment with a kitchen, refrigerator, hot shower, TV, internet, for $10 a night. And you're in a city. It's not like you're not in a small beach town. I'm in an actual city with large buildings, surf breaks, all the amenities that you'd want from a big. But you were saying this isn't even the hotspot of Russian people in Vietnam. There's Nha Trang is where
much more crowded by Russians. I've seen government lists. Historically, Russian place with a bunch of Russian restaurants. We really enjoyed the vibes in Nha Trang for Russian karaoke nights. It was super weird, but it was like a big connection with motherland.
So I say super weird, like it's weird because there's so many Russians there, was the community so like alive and like really vibrant, like very vibrant Russian life there?
In stereotypes, it's two types of Russian. First of all, Nachank Russian community is about typical Russian tourists who are annoying, noisy, rude, and blah blah blah. I never met these people in Nachank, but here I enjoyed more English-speaking community. Also, the plan to move to Danang was to improve our speaking.
Do you feel like living here compared to living in a place like Nha Trang, it gives you the opportunity to like sort of come out of your bubble a little bit more, like spend less time around Russian people speaking Russian language and more international?
I'm not really afraid of spending time with Russian people, but yeah, the opportunity to hang out with other expats is cool. That's what we looked for when we moved from Nachank to here. And what we get here, we get some really close and good friends from South Africa, Bulgaria, Scotland, other countries, and I really enjoyed it.
How much have you adapted just in the last almost year that you've been in Vietnam to life in Vietnam? Do you feel like you're becoming Vietnamese? Can you speak some of the language, the food, the culture?
I can speak in coffee shop, like ask about price. I don't understand Vietnamese numbers.
How about the food?
Especially on the road. I enjoy Vietnamese food, my wife not really. So from time to time we are enjoying some rare Vietnamese meals. For example, bánh căn or bánh hot. It's not really famous Vietnamese pancake with seafood or meat. Usually, I highly recommend to anyone who will travel Vietnam to try this.
You were saying in regards to the road, like not being very Vietnamese on the road. If you don't know, for people who don't know, driving in Vietnam is legitimately probably the most scary country I've ever driven in my life, and I've been to 60 countries now. It is one of the most terrifying experiences. But you have to use a motorbike getting around here, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's your transportation day to day.
No public transport. You can use taxi, but if you use bike taxi, that's pretty common and cheapest way to get anywhere without your own motorbike. It's much more scary than to use to go by yourself.
To drive yourself, to be in control of the situation.
Yeah.
But like, have you gotten pretty adjusted to driving around and doing everything by I'm assuming in Russia you didn't drive in a motorbike,
No,
right?
never. Only one time in the village I used to drive Ural. It's a huge half-a-ton motorbike. I wasn't able to manage it. I just rode straight, reached some hill and stopped on the top because I was scared to go further. So only one experience with motorbike before Vietnam.
And now overall the experience in Vietnam, what has it been for you? Like learning how to ride a motorbike and driving around here?
I get two motorbikes in Vietnam. First was a regular scooter. I really enjoyed, but it's a bit not stable in case of conditions. So for the moment, it's standing broken at my apartment.
Oh, yeah.
And I got second one, more expensive, more huge, and more dangerous for me. I never got any accidents on a smaller one, but on this I fell down 3 times already.
This guy right here?
Yeah.
Oh, really? So this is the bike that you're riding around these days? Usually, when I make a video like this, especially when we're moving off to another area, I would film while driving. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not even gonna attempt it. Like, it's too dangerous here for me to mess around with anything other than the handlebars of my bike. Me and Dima now are gonna hop on our bike. We're gonna go to another location and continue his story because I'm very interested in prying a little bit deeper into everything.
That is quite the view.
Actually, I was looking at this peninsula on Google Maps the first day I arrived here in Danang, and I was like, oh, at some point I'll drive it. And I've been here for almost a week. I just never got around to doing it.
Look at that view. That's unbelievable. Actually, so beautiful.
I know this channel used to be all about nice views and where to go, and I never really talk about that stuff anymore, but it doesn't defeat the purpose that it's still beautiful here.
So it reminds me a lot of Hawaii. Absolutely gorgeous. We're replacing like a coffee with a coconut, which is good, and a beautiful view.
I love that. So nice.
How well do you know this area already? Do you know it like super well? You've been up here many times?
No, not really many times. More I prefer a different part of the peninsula with more city views. This is more touristic area. They got Intercontinental Hotel here.
Oh, really?
Like 1 kilometer further, the private beach on the different side of the peninsula, so open sea. Yeah, probably it's a great experience for tourists.
To get there, you drive around this whole all the way on the other side like that?
No. Across the mountain.
Over. Can you take me back to the day where you had to definitively decide that you were leaving Russia, like leaving home?
That wasn't really a day to decide. It was just a short phrase from my wife in the morning of 24th of February, where she'll go. She started to discover ticket prices. It was enormous, and I wasn't able to quit my job for the moment as well, because I get huge responsibility for a product, for a team, for investors. So it took some time, but when all it was finished, we just got the tickets and flew away. That's the 22nd year. Gave me 3 dates to remember. 24th February, that I will never forget. 30th of April, our wedding day, that I hope to never forget as well. And 9th of June, when I get a plane to Yerevan from Moscow. Still never been back to Russia.
Your journey took you to Armenia first?
Armenia first, yeah, because my close friend moved to Armenia like a few months before, just to meet them. That wasn't a big extra fee to get the Yerevan for one night, so I did it. And then I get huge fault with the Indian visa to Yerevan. I fly to Dubai, then I should travel to Mumbai, and they didn't let me go to the plane because I have no Indian visa. I completely not forget. I just didn't check, and my wife didn't check that I get self-transit in India. I spent the night in a hotel with 17 degrees AC without opportunity to change the temperature. I was freezing literally all the night, and then my wife booked me a ticket to Bangkok, and then I landed in Saigon, and she traveled separately because it was cheaper to get this complicated flight that I had than to fly with the dog through the Istanbul. Finally, I paid much more for my tickets.
When you were leaving Russia, like as you were transitioning between Armenia and Thailand and Dubai, like did you encounter many Russians in the airports or when you were eating hotels?
No, that wasn't a hot time for immigration. We were in the cold period, and ticket prices were much more comfortable. That was we planned our departure from Russia for a long time. Zero surprises. To be honest, not really many of my friends left country because of property, not enough money, and no work opportunities. From my close friends, only one immigrated to Armenia with his wife and their 1 or 2 year old kid. Now they are waiting for a second kid in Armenia, and it's funny because his citizenship would be probably Armenian. I don't know a lot of people who left Russia. Furthermore, I don't know any person who involved in the conflict.
The year that you spent here in Vietnam, do you feel like it's enriched your happiness internally as a person? Did you make a lot of memories here that like you'll never forget, things that were like...
Yeah, sure. At least first half of the year was really amazing. We enjoyed traveling. Like 3 months ago, my wife's family came here to Vietnam for vacation. We traveled the north of Vietnam, Cat Ba Island, Halong Bay, and that was an amazing trip as well. Vietnam is a super beautiful country for traveling, but in case of job opportunities, when I research in LinkedIn, that's not really about good vacancies for me here. And all of them are located in Saigon or Hanoi, and I definitely don't want to end up in big city without the sea that got plus 35 degrees in average. No thanks. I used to live in Omsk. I know what is July in the continent when you get plus 35 and no wind, no...
How much do you think this has altered or delayed your life? This like choice to come here
I'm not
change your?
sure that it's delayed my life. I've never been at vacation more than 2 weeks for my first 27 years of life. And now I got 11 months vacation for the moment. And prefer to call it our honeymoon because we almost spend in our wedding money.
So what is your outlook moving forward with life here in Vietnam? Like what is Dima doing? Where are you going from here?
Anywhere when I can get a proper job in digital marketing or product marketing or anything that would match my skills and responsibilities. At first, we plan to have a 1 month vacation and then start to look for a job in Australia. But then we decided to continue our vacation for 3 months, and then we realized that Australian companies not really about hiring people abroad. So without a work permit or something like that. I'm trying to improve my job seeking skills because I never used to find a job abroad as well. Got two choices: go to teach English with my not really good skills in English, or find a proper job somewhere, somehow.
Having to make these life decisions because of what's going on back home in your country that you are uncomfortable with, it is, from a certain perspective, I can look at from the outside and be like, this is tough. It's like not an ideal situation, you know? You as a person had like sort of a set goal or what you want to kind of do with your life, and all of a sudden had to kind of shift radically and force yourself into an 11-month honeymoon. Bigger picture wise, where you see yourself in the future, is Russia home to you?
That's my dream, to go back to Russia. And just a week ago I started to think, do I have a dream? Formula of my dream is to be able to live and work in Omsk in the same conditions as it was in Moscow of 2018. Job opportunities, good salaries, same medicine levels, and same traveling abilities. So that's kind of dream, but the big goal that it's smaller than a dream is to go back to Russia. I don't like this situation in my life for the moment. It's tough, it's hard, it's depressing, but I'm not in Ukraine. I wasn't drafted to Russian military forces. I wasn't forced to kill people. I wasn't imprisoned by Ukrainian soldiers. And furthermore, I'm not even Ukrainian at all. I don't know any person who was killed by Putin's war in its conditions as it was 10 years ago. There are no bombs.
Because in reality, when you look around where you are right now, it isn't that bad. But again, it's like everybody is valid to have the emotions that they feel. But I appreciate you actually saying that, because it is a tough situation for everybody involved, actually for the whole world, with what's going on right now in the country that you're from. I'm very appreciative of the fact that you're able to look at it from a different perspective and say like, hey, okay, I actually don't have it that bad. This is me coping. This is me managing.
Yeah, that's the fact that it keeps me smiling. The seaside, I play football, do some sport activities, and get a fucking swimming pool in my apartment that I never got in Russia. And I'm living my best life.
All right, so I'm following you to we're going to a monkey place?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a Russian adapting to life in Southeast Asia. Going to a monkey place. Here we go. Oh, it's these little guys, huh? The macaques. So here's where we're entering the Tra Peninsula. Super cool. I'm excited to see this. See if we can find some wildlife. Not what I was expecting to do today. You've been here many times to the point where you know there's going to be monkeys in this area?
Maybe 5 times.
5 times?
Even now I've seen the monkey.
When we were driving by now, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, our monkey mission has been completed. Actually, it's exactly in the spot you said it was going to be too. I think that's just where the rock was. That's a big macaque too. I've actually been attacked by these monkeys before. Yeah, it's a very, very, very different, wildly different environment from Russia. Huh? Nothing even remotely similar to where you're from.
My first travel in life was to Sochi. I've seen palms first time in my life. City environment. We're going to a small art gallery. Guys were super kind and allow us to exhibit our photos here for free.
That's amazing.
And when we just arrived to Danang with my wife, here was the vegetarian restaurant owned by a Russian family.
Oh, wow.
And then I started to play football with the owner of the place.
Sort of very close, tight-knit community. Which are here are the photos that you've taken?
It's about how Russian communities spend.
I feel like this is the best backdrop to actually get into the meat of this video and like why we're actually making this video. Because for the most part, we've talked about your story, but like, okay, so Chubby Tiger was, you're saying this is it was a club or a bar?
It's a bar and slash restaurant with delicious Balkan food and not so expensive beers.
And it's owned by a Bulgarian man.
Bulgarian man, yeah.
This is the owner.
Here. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's Martin. His mom is Russian. His dad is Bulgarian. He grew up in Hungary and now he is in Danang for years. Pretty interesting story.
So what did you try to capture here? Actually, I think in essence what I've been kind of asking about and what I'm curious about. This is the life of Russians in Danang.
Yeah. Here's Andrea, my close friend from South Africa. Martin is from Bulgaria. The other guys are from Russia. Seva is IT developer from Moscow. Vladik, musician from Karelia. That's north of Russia, close to Finland and Norway borders. This one, it's Nikita. He's the founder of English-speaking club Danang, the probably the biggest Russian community that we got here when Russian people improve their speaking English skills, met each other, have some drinks. So it's after one of the events. That's my dog. Nose.
I was actually curious to see what your dog looks like. This is your dog?
Yeah, it's his face.
Is he a pug?
No, he's Brachycephalus Sparks, but he's Afghan Pinscher. It's the elder German breed. They used to be shepherds for horses.
Okay.
With this small size, he's just 8 kilos. That's why we were able to move him from Moscow. Works for Vietnamese Airlines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's to be a pilot. It's probably the best social lift in Russia. His project about dance, social dance in Vietnam. He's an IT entrepreneur. Misha's project, he shot it in 1 week. About, you asked me before, out of camera, about communistic and capitalistic approach in Vietnam. So his project about it.
Yeah, you can see here like the temple and then
Yeah.
the communist symbol.
Exactly.
And the Vietnamese
temple.
flag.
And that's Masha's for the project about street food, night street food. Christine's project about beach line. My favorite Artem's photo shoot about his Wizard Run experience. He's one of the guys who doing his Wizard Runs every 2 weeks by motorbike, by himself.
This is amazing to see actually, because I think like without asking these questions and connecting with somebody like you, this is something I would never ever find on my own. You know, like I wouldn't just stumble across this. I'd have to come looking for it. So really cool to see that the Russian life here is you know, also dabbling into the artistic side as well. And here you have like also a photo of the organizing.
The project founder and Anya, she helped us to make an exhibition in really short time. Like we get only a week and small budget. We didn't imagine how much we'll spend. We planned to spend like $100 each, so 600. But finally, once we spent like 150 for all this stuff. Anya made a lot of by herself, and most part of money went for the punch.
Most of the budget went to alcohol.
Yeah. Drinking is more expensive than alcohol in Vietnam. And Vietnamese rum is pretty cool. We get more than 50 people on the opening day for the free punch.
Ah, that was here in the exhibition.
Yeah. There was a table here, the punch bucket, and 50 people inside and outside.
I want to give a shout out to the exhibition place. What is this place called?
Kankam art class.
Kankam art class.
They're almost studying kids how to draw, how to paint.
And so anybody could come here, learn how to do painting, printing, things like that. Art studio and class, there you go. You can see here's their prices. Just giving them a little bit of a shout out here. You guys can come check it out if you're in Danang. Okay guys, it's a little bit later in the day now. I've left Dima and I have met Marat. Marat, that's how you say your name.
Yeah.
So Marat is also from Russia.
Yeah.
And he's been living here in Danang slightly longer than...
Some 4 years around.
4 years. So yeah, I wanted to get into your story. We're also going to actually go to... Is it the only Russian restaurant in Danang?
So the Vinaigrette is a first Russian restaurant. It's kind of fancy place, you know. You can order the pretty simple food there, but it's very beautiful.
Okay.
It's looking really good. We have some delivery option. They also do some borscht, etc. Like the
Oh, nice.
the food. I cannot say that we Russians are miss, but lots of Russian actually miss the food, Russian food. Before I came here, I didn't know what to do because people actually came here to work like as an English teacher, English teachers, but I didn't speak English actually before I came here, and I didn't know what to do. And we started to make dumplings here, Russian style dumplings.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It wasn't
Wow.
so popular because before it wasn't a lot of Russians here, but we did well before the COVID, of course.
Okay.
And
What, like delivery service? Like you were?
Yeah, it was delivery. We made some small production here.
That's so cool,
And
man.
we did sell our dumplings through the stores and delivery options. It wasn't only dumplings. If you know what dumplings is, it's a different types of dumplings actually. Not especially Russians, but just the the style Russian.
Yeah,
style.
one of my favorite things that I ate when I was in Russia in Siberia was like dumplings with yak meat inside.
Yakni. Oh.
Yeah, and like you bite off the top and drink the soup like a big dumpling, like that. It was so good.
Yeah, it's actually they mix the yak meat with the bear meat.
With bear, I'm not sure if I had the bear meat. I mean, I kind of hope now I did, but I don't think I did.
But yeah, it's tasty. I tried it, man. It's delicious moose.
Yeah.
Yak.
Oh, you eat moose in Russia? Really? I didn't know
Yes,
that. I want to try moose. I've never. Is it good?
Yeah, just the meat, I'm not a big fan of the food. I like meat, but I cannot say that is it good or not. Yeah, you can eat it.
So, I mean, yesterday we had a lot of talk about different reasons that Dima made it to Russia, but I'm curious, like, your story. How did you end up here? Because you're here from before a couple years ago already. You're here from like an established community of Russians that's been here.
When we came here, it was few hundreds maybe.
Few hundred Russians.
Yes, and we didn't like chat or meet a lot, just a little sometimes. But later, maybe during the COVID time, here is one more city called Danang.
Yes, he was telling me about it yesterday.
So
that's like the Russian capital of Vietnam.
yes, it's like it's a Russian city in Vietnam.
Really?
Because it's similar to some kind of Adler or Sochi. On the beach, it was people. There are people who offering like churchella or some. It's desserts. During the COVID time, I remember that people came from Nha Trang to Danang because Danang was quite more stable than Nha Trang. I don't really remember the reason. Maybe in Nha Trang there were no jobs.
Yeah.
I guess.
Because it's a smaller town, no?
Yes, and so as the tourists left the Nha Trang, everybody came here because here it's a bigger city and lots of things to do, and it was open during the COVID. Actually, Vietnam did really great during the COVID times compared to other countries, as I heard. If we will compare to China, so there are the zero COVID politics, yes. So we did really great here, and Russians came here. It was more popular between Russian community, like between Russians, because if one person come here, he will call to other
More
friends.
Russians to
Yes,
come.
they're like, come here.
So it was mostly by like word of mouth. Like somebody would arrive and be like, "Hey, you
Yes.
gotta come to Danang because it's sick and there's a lot of Russians here."
Because even I called my friends here because I love Danang. I feel like it's my home. The second time I came here, it was like I'm home. Even I feel at Russia also at home. But anyway, I love the city. I feel myself safety, more stable here. Maybe because we are foreigners here, and
So you've been here for around like in and out 3-4 years.
4 years.
4 years. And do you feel like you've become very Vietnamese in that time? Like have you adopted eating the food, speaking the language a little bit, things like that?
Yes, I speak a little. Like I had to learn some Vietnamese words because when I came here, I had no money, and I went to the market, started to buy things, and of course, as I'm a foreigner, they see me and like, okay, I will sell you a little pricey. compared to local people. And of course, when you learn some of the words, they like, oh, okay, you know Vietnamese, I will give you a little cheaper then, you know. And yeah, I like the food, I like the cuisine, I like the culture. You know, Vietnamese people are very friendly.
Yeah.
When I had some problems, I went to some place, I missed the bus. Everyone started to help me, like, okay, I will find you the bus to this place. And they sent me to, I don't really remember, Donha City. Someone helped me there to find the bus from there to Danang.
Yeah, they don't leave you hanging. They're really...
Yes. And maybe that's why, because when I came back to Russia, people, the first, it was the old man. I told him hello, like in Russian, здравствуйте. And he said, yeah, he just looked at me, you know, with this face. And went. Like, what, man? Like, give me some smile.
It's actually really funny what you just said, because like I feel it very similar a lot of times when we're traveling. Like, you know, you and I both come from two countries that are very big with a lot of big cities, and a lot of times when we're traveling in countries that are smaller and we're foreigners, there people are super friendly to us, whether it's their culture or because we're foreigners. And whenever I go back to America, not that Americans are bad people, but you know, I'll arrive in New York City and smile at somebody on the street, and they look at me like, "What the fuck you want from me? What are you doing? Leave me alone." And you forget all of a sudden the rules. It's kind of different, you know?
Yes, maybe, yeah. I went a little deeper to the Vietnamese culture, and I like these people. And even if I don't speak language, when I hear that people trying to talk with me, I also trying to give them feedback or some answer. Trying to be the same. Of course, not all of the people like friendly, talk, but still, more people helpful or friendly or kind to you, then you like them more. I like them more.
From that feeling, it makes you feel actually home. Like you feel like you could live here long term. Like this is...
Yes, I actually want to spend here as much as I can. I've been back home Russia last year. I compared all the time. When I was there, I was thinking, oh, Vietnam. I miss the culture. I miss the
crazy driving.
Actually, yes, also the bikes. And I was there. I was thinking, not the same. I want to go back. I want to live there. And it was my point. I made the plan for the half year before I come here, make some money to come here. I was in Russia before the COVID last time, and I came back to Vietnam, and I said to myself, okay, I'm home. And this feeling, the second time I felt when I came back from Russia the last time. Like, okay,
was that I'm
finally,
home?
Yes. I came by train from Hanoi. And the road, the way from Hanoi to Danang, I was so happy. Like, okay, soon I will come home. And I was also with my dog, and it was a little complicated, but the dog also came from. I took her from Danang to Russia and brought her back from Russia.
From Russia to Danang. Wow.
Yes.
Do you feel very Russian? Are you very like culturally like you feel very no?
No. Because I'm from Tatarstan.
Yeah.
And I'm a citizen of Russia.
Right. But ethnically not Russian.
No, of course. I'm more Tatar, or my father from Turkmenistan. So it's like I'm not ethnically Russian. And all the time I had this story when we moved to Kazan. It's the capital of Tatarstan. We rent an apartment. When I came there, they asked me to show the passport. My Russian passport. They asked me, are you Russian or what? It's kind of not racist, but still all the time I felt this back in home.
Yeah.
So I cannot say that I'm Russian, and I don't really like to put some labels on people. Are you Russian or are you American, etc.
Right. We're gonna pull up on this restaurant now called Vinaigrette. I'm very excited. We said we were gonna do a little bit of a walk before we sit down at the restaurant just to get to it and have a little conversation. I'm excited. It's been a long time since I've had Russian food. Can't say that when I was in Russia it was the most memorable food I've ever had in my life, but I do remember enjoying it a lot. All right, here it is, Vinaigrette. Some of their special offers. I'm excited to try this. Thank you. What was it called again? That tastes exactly like a hibiscus drink.
or like Jamaica from Mexico. That's really nice. Mors.
Yeah, you have to say it hard, like
Mors.
I am Morse. how it calls the stereotypes of Russians.
Yeah, yeah.
Russians are like
Very tough. Like, oh.
No, of course, we're like this.
I find it very funny that we're talking about why Russians moved to Vietnam when your shirt says we migrated.
This is my favorite short t-shirt. Yeah, I bought it a few years ago, and all the time we migrated. It's my
Life motto, like a motto?
Life motto.
Okay.
We migrated. Really friendly with the owners because they so open. Again, we're coming back to that Vietnamese people are open, and he's all the time. When we came to his place, he put the million alых роз, the million some roses called. It's very popular Soviet Union times song from Alla Pugacheva. And okay, it's you. Okay, this is the music.
This is the music that you need to play.
Yeah. I guess you heard, maybe not you, but it's very popular. It was very popular around the people who lived in Soviet Union times, especially Vietnamese, because if maybe you heard, many Vietnamese people during the Soviet Union times came to Soviet Union to study there, and still when we made dumplings, I met a lot of people who were studying in the Soviet Union, and they're like, "Oh, you're from Russia, здравствуйте." And
I've heard that Vietnamese people have a large respect for Russian people for the most part. Like they really like Russian people and very welcomed here in this country. And it's actually really cool to see that because, for example, I live in the Philippines now, and I'm Israeli American, so Philippines is like really, really open to Israeli, really, really open to American. And it's cool to see like there's another group of people here. Like Vietnam, I heard Vietnamese people really, really love Russian people. They're always welcoming them, always happy to have them here.
I guess it's because of of course, the war.
The wars in Soviet Union and
because also Soviet Union was the communist country, and we supported a lot. The previous our government supported a lot to Vietnamese people. That's why I see a lot of Russian. The vehicles, a lot of Russian vehicles like KAMAZ. KAMAZ is actually they make it in Tatarstan. It's like my neighbor from my hometown, 25 kilometers. Before they said we are brother nations.
Brother nations.
Yes, kind of, if I can say that, but yeah. My parents are upset about it.
That you live here.
Yes, because I'm the only child. I don't have kids and they don't have grandchild. But they are also happy because in Russia it's complicated to live there. You know, I lived there for 25 years. They know that I live here, I make some money, I'm happy here. Like before I lived in Russia, I wasn't happy there because the weather. It's because of the weather. It's cold. It's freaking cold there. You know, the winter. It starts in August. The cold weather. Maybe it's in the September. From September to the April, it's cold, and there is no sun. The last year, 2017, it was 2 months without the sun. It was so hard for me. That's why we decided to leave Russia at that time, 2017. Yeah.
They also gave us some bread and butter. This kind of reminds me a little bit, not exactly the bread that I used to get in Russia, because it's kind of like a rye bread there.
Oh, when I was a kid, I loved to eat bread with butter and sugar, or with the jam and butter.
Thank you.
Salted fish, and it's a local from the Vietnam. Actually, it's not come with any sauce for now, and you can take the finger and try.
Like finger food.
Tasty it should be.
It's very Russian.
What do you mean by it's very Russian? Like the taste salty?
It's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's not specifically my flavor, like what I enjoy eating. I feel like when I connect to Russian food, mayonnaise, I think bread, I think butter, I think potatoes. In Jewish culture, like my family is from Iraq. We have zero connection to Russia.
Okay.
But we make like Russian salads on Friday night dinner. Like we'll make like a potato salad, like a Russian potato salad. Been changed from an original Russian recipe, but we eat that at our house. Feels very like mayonnaise-y. The rye bread in the bottom, like very, very like sort of like a tough bread from Russia. It's like a radish. This kind of looks like caviar, but it's not, right?
No, it's not caviar. It's mustard, I guess.
Wow, that's really yummy. This pickles, super sweet, really, really good. Kind of is like a higher scale tuna salad.
Почему именно Дананг?
Мой друг, мой партнер, он переехал в Дананг из России. Вот, я был на тот момент в России, в Москве, занимался другими проектами. Ему по прошествию там полугода он увидел, что здесь нет русской еды в том качестве, которое мы приняли с теми продуктами. Ну, они, конечно, немножко адаптировали. Он видел в этом перспективу какую-то, что люди спрашивают, люди интересуются, и принял решение запустить такой проект. Вот, предложил мне приехать и ему помочь. Вот, и я приехал через 2,5 месяца. Вот, открыли ресторан «Винегрет».
Friend of Tom came to Danang and he told that there are no Russian properly serving food, and they came from Moscow, you said?
Yeah.
From Moscow to make something, because as I told you, there are no Russian food before. Like it was something, as I told you, dumplings we made, but it wasn't that style of the food, because here are also moving more Russian, not rich people, because you know what, they need some proper food, not like
Food from home.
yes, from home, but
Amazing.
making really beautiful, pretty food, if we can say that. So they just came here and decided to make this project came true to the life.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
These are my friends,
Oh,
Vadim and Diana.
hello.
It's also wonderful with butter.
Uh-huh.
I guess they already put the butter on the top.
On this.
You can put some butter. You can try with butter
Okay.
or with the sour cream.
What's the name of this again?
Vareniki.
Vareniki.
It's also dumplings.
Vareniki, just without meat, just
Yeah,
vegetable.
vegetable.
So I put a little bit of butter on it. I'm doing this with my left hand, so it's a little bit awkward. A little bit of sour cream. Is it the type of sour cream? Does it matter to you guys a lot? Can you taste the big difference, or it's like any sour cream goes?
Any sour cream is good, but this quite not that. It's different styles. Again, as I told you, I'm from village, and
Right.
if you make the homemade sour cream, it's another type of sour cream. It's more thicker and more tastier. I guess this one from Mega Market, like the packed one.
Yeah.
They selling the 1 liter, 1 kilogram of sour cream. It's good enough. At least you can say that, okay, I tried this sour cream.
And it looks like there's some dill on the outside. Vareniki.
Vareniki. Yes,
Vareniki.
vareniki.
Okay.
Vareniki is good with potato.
Oh my god.
Potato and
Oh.
fried onion.
Oh my god, it's so good. Oh, I love it. This is my ideal dumpling. That is perfect. It's cooked perfectly. Is lentil that you would never find in Russia, right? A dumpling with lentil? Oh yeah?
Of course, but it's a little expensive because I didn't buy lentil in Russia. But here you can find it easily. Like the beans in Asia is
Like very easy.
very cheap,
Mhm.
and of course must to buy.
Have to try it. This is the fanciest shishlik I've ever seen in my life.
Yes,
It's never usually served like that. It's served on a skewer usually, no?
Yeah. Some meat. Eat it.
Eat it, take some bread off.
Put some mayo.
I love the way you said that. Some meat, eat it. That's the best way to put it. So how long has it been since you've had shishlik?
There are maybe a year.
Since you were in
Last
Russia?
May, yeah.
I'm
it was
curious to see how you react to this.
Is it onion?
Pickled onion, yeah. Is there a proper way to do this?
It's actually, I didn't know that it's the way how they serve it.
Nothing comes close to home, though.
Actually, yeah, tasty.
It looks very, very fatty.
I love the onion from the pickled onion. It's not the pickled. We put the marinade, right?
This is really yummy. It feels like a home comfort food, you know?
He's from Moscow Economic University, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the high school of economics. He told that Russia lost out 1.3 million people. Lots of them are IT specialists, like digital nomads, and it's a huge number. Like all the smart people, most of them, smartest people, they just left. People who can stay abroad, who can make money, they will call people there. And now, as I said, the online jobs are expanding, online remote jobs. More people will work online.
A lot of people who scary of mobilization leave the country. My friend met the guy from Spetsov. They work for very cheap money, which they take for 1 month, and if they stay in the towns, they need 2 or 3 years to take this money. A lot of smart people, sure, leave the country, the most part of IT. It was the first wave after war started. and the second big wave was after mobilization start. And if we take first wave, it was cool IT specialists, but the second wave, it was the guys who really scary to go for the war.
To go to war.
But now a lot of people back to Russia. They never was in immigration. A lot of people have parents in Russia who don't want to leave the country. It's hard to live in another place if you have
Relatives.
yeah.
Like family over there. Yeah.
Sometimes you think that it's cool to go to the Vietnam, Thailand, any other country, but you don't understand how it's hard to stay for a long time.
From your family, your
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Maybe it's much more simple if you are young to leave the country and start the new life. After 30, 35, it's much more hard because you need something stable in your life.
Yeah.
You want to grow up your kids, you want to build your home and have a simple, stable life.
No, not хорошо.
Where are you from?
I forgot how to say good in Russian. Хорошо is good? Oh, I thought I'm from Miami, USA.
Miami.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice place.
Yeah, it's nice. that was the idea, was to name the video like something clickbaity, like Russian invasion of Vietnam, but in reality it's probably not the reality of the situation. It's very uncertain of like what actually will happen in the future here. It's probably safe to assume that the community here will continue to grow because now there's like a safety net here.
Yes.
And there's probably a lot of people that fell in love with Danang so hard, similar to how you two did.
Yes.
And like it gives them a reason to stay here for long. But from another perspective, you never know. Things could change.
Of course.
Like this.
The COVID showed us a lot of things. Like it showed up the old problems, etc. That's what I want to say. We expected here that time. We expected here more Russians. As I told you again about the dumplings, I saw the perspective to growing my all the stuff with these flights. Future showed later. COVID showed that what will happen will happen. But now, as you said, also. The community is bigger and bigger with the time. People are staying here, they will call their friends. But I guess it will become like Nichang.
That's what you
second.
think, yeah?
Yes, I think so. Maybe with a few years, like 2 or 3 years. But again, Danang is more Korean destination. Korean are rich, Japanese are rich, Chinese are rich, Russians are not so rich. So yeah, we have some few rich people like Prigozhin.
The Russian viewers will understand.
More people here are poor, really, who cannot afford the accommodation here to live here, to pay a lot for rent. The prices here for rent are more expensive than in Russia. That's why you think that the Danang is cheap. For us, Danang is not that cheap.
Maybe Moscow prices for food, but not Moscow prices for rent. But if you want to take some Russian foods in full market, moon milk, you will pay much more than you will pay for it in Moscow.
Right.
Russia. I think for the huge part of Russians, it's very important to have Russian infrastructure, like restaurants like this. Yeah.
Kindergartens for kids,
yeah.
Right.
of course, some schools. They trying to communicate to
Right.
similar people, to people who do not speak English, who speaks Russian.
I think Russians is very different because you have Russians who take full suitcase of Russian culture with they for the rest. Yeah, and when they come to any country, they start to find Russian cafe, Russian services, don't know language, and for they it's much more simple to visit some places like Nha Trang, like Pattaya in Thailand and Phuket, because they have Russian infrastructure. For they it's much more simple to communicate with anyone. The next part of Russians. It's I think young wave because a huge part of young wave know English, know some other languages, maybe for 3 or 5.
More open, I guess.
Yeah, they mind much more open.
Yes.
More open-minded, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can call them open-minded.
Yeah. And for they much more simple to communicate with the locals.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to take some food in very small villages in Vietnam because they don't speak English, sure. But now it's much more simple to communicate if you have smartphone and Google Translate. You just take everyone if you want. My first visit in Vietnam 5 years ago was Ho Chi Minh City. I bought a motorbike and ride from Saigon to Danang. On my way, I met a lot of interesting Vietnamese places, and when I lost signal on my phone, I play with menu because menu was only in Vietnam. I just put my finger at the menu like this.
Very different experience from Russia.
Yeah.
Very different.
When you are in your 20s, you don't need a lot. You need just something to lay down, like the
bed.
tent.
Yeah.
Even the tent, when I was 20, I could sleep on the floor. But now, of course, I need some comfortable life. I need something. I need a bed. Yeah. I need an apartment. I need a kitchen.
All right, so I just departed from my Russian friend. I've got to beat traffic now, get back to my hotel, check out because I've got a bus to Hanoi, a 13-hour bus, capital of Vietnam. But before that, I want to summarize this video, my thoughts on it. So give me a second to arrive there. But I have to do this retrospective talk here for the end of this video because I feel like this is for the real ones, for the OGs, for the real clats who watch the videos all the way to the end. I want to make a note about this. All right, life is full of nuance. I can only feel the right to speak about this while it's not the same thing, but because I'm Israeli American and I have the context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in my life at all moments, every single day, when I have random conversations with people and I tell them I'm Israeli, there's a context that comes. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's very bad. And just like being Israeli and being American, I will never judge every Israeli or every Palestinian in that conflict harshly or with one side or the other. It's the same exact situation. Again, while this video was not in any way, shape, or form supposed to be about what's going on right now in Russia and Ukraine, you can't have this conversation. You can't make this video without mentioning it. And for me, Russia was one of those eye-opener countries when I visited there. I heard so many bad things, so many bad stories before going to Russia. And people told me don't go, so many horrible things about this country, and it was so completely the opposite of what I experienced when I was there. It showed me, it taught me a real lesson of how not to trust what everybody tells you and to not to trust what you see on the news. And you have to go see these things for yourself. So, I don't know how many YouTubers, how many news stations are trying to show you guys how Russians are living abroad, but the group of people that I spoke to in these videos, while not trying to make any political statements here, are just normal people living their life, trying to do good in the world, just like 99% of the people around planet Earth. These aren't bad people, these aren't your enemies, it's not anybody's enemy. All I want to say about that is try to keep an open mind in life. I think it's really important, and I think with these videos that we're making now, we're getting deeper and deeper. Sometimes we're pushing the envelope a little bit with the things we're talking about. This video was so important for me to make because I know from what I see in the news, I know the perception of people, and I know how mainstream media and news can villainize complete groups of people without any conviction, really. Sometimes it's got nothing to do with anything. It's villainizing people for the sake of villainizing people. And I know that that's not true literally 95% of the cases of people and places I've experienced around the world. So I just felt it necessary to add this as a certain point from my heart. This isn't me taking any political stance on what's going on in the world right now by any means whatsoever. But all it is to serve a purpose of, there's a lot of really, really good people out there, a lot of great human beings that don't get a chance to show you how great they are unless you sit down and have a conversation with them, unless you sit down and have lunch with them, go on a walk on the beach, or meet them on a random expats group on Facebook. But that's why doing this video series around Southeast Asia has been so amazing, because it's making me and it's pushing me to be in front of these people I would never expect I'd be having lunch with, in places I never expect I'd be having lunch with them in, like here in Danang, Vietnam. Anyways, long story short, be nice to people, give people a chance, and don't believe what everybody tells you, because I swear to you, 95% of these things I've heard growing up about so many different groups of people and people pretending like they know stuff. It's just not true. You gotta go and see stuff for yourself. You gotta go experience it for yourself with your own two eyes. I love you guys a long time. Thank you so much for watching. Support the channel by becoming a member. Please, these videos are expensive. Love you a long time. Goodbye, Klats.